with the Impact Hour. We'll be broadcasting on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. Our Instagram is WSAN Radio 210, and our YouTube channel is WSAN Radio SA. So we'll get that out there, let everybody know what's going on. So right now we're broadcasting live on all four platforms right now, which is great. The stuff that we went through the past since March 6th, we're finally back getting our Facebook page back together. But I tell you what, it's been something else. It's been something else. All right, it is now 29 minutes after the hour. We got Joseph Lee standing by, sir. Good morning, Joseph. You on mute? There
Had to
you
open
go.
my mic up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you were on a roll, man. I didn't even unmute my mic. I said, "This Ryan get off this roll he's doing," and I'll go ahead and chime in. But konnichiwa, everybody, from Okinawa, Japan. Glad to be here. Man, a lot going on. A lot going on. Glad to see that you got back on Facebook. I know it's been a battle. The
Yeah,
timing was interesting when you got your account got hacked, and that's what really happened. I was looking at your site, and somebody actually put a pretty famous comedian on your screen, which was, I think it was a Country Wayne or something like that, right? And shout out to Country Wayne, funny guy. I enjoyed his skits, so I enjoyed the Netflix special, but it's definitely not WSAN radio. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
we're hitting with some very realistic facts, not alternative facts. And somebody wanted us, I guess, to just laugh and ha ha hee hee. And you know what? Comedy has its place, but
right.
we deal with the news, we deal with psychology, we deal with how to process this from, I'd say, somewhat of an Afrocentric standpoint, but from an American standpoint. Even though we're over here in Okinawa, Japan, so and in San Antonio, Texas, and shout out to one of my brothers, Jerome Wilson, got to put his name out there. He, reached out to me and said, "Man, I got to find this show." Another buddy of mine, battle of mine from San Antonio, who I'm friends with through a battle buddy, Ricky Draper, that I served with in the Army. So yes, I'm a veteran. So when I speak about a lot of this stuff, we speak about it from a lot of different aspects, from an educational standpoint, from a military standpoint, being a veteran. I put time and skin in the game so I can talk about some of these things. So just understand that people that want to call in and debate, definitely, political science, pre-law, whatever was my background, but then I went into mental health services and became a licensed professional counselor. Been doing that for about 15 years,
Wow.
10 years, private practice. Time flies when you're having fun, you know what I mean? So doing a lot of stuff, different contracts with organizations, working with the military, working with businesses, corporations, and private practice and all that. So shout out to the Impact team. Martha Rice doing her thing, the collaboration team. I'm always sharing on my Facebook page her phenomenal work. Greg Washington, Tamara Spears. You got other people coming in. Shout out to Grand Rapids, Michigan, who had a great province up there for with Kappa Alpha Psi, my home city. Couldn't make it there, but I'll be up there sometime soon. I don't like giving all my locations and when I'm going to be at a certain place. Apparently, some people might be a little, how can I say it, interesting, put it like that.
Yeah.
So I don't ever give out my complete movements online, but I'll tell you after I've been there. But those that need to know. So see you soon. I ain't gonna tell you when, but we'll be there pretty soon. So they kick you with family and friends and loved ones and check on different business aspects.
There you
So put it
go.
like that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
man, pretty tough morning. Prayers to, I guess, the Baltimore area, the Baltimore
Right.
bridge that was hit. I guess we have about 6 people, unfortunately, presumed dead. So shout kind of a prayer to their families and prayer to that community. I mean, that's a pretty iconic bridge that was destroyed really because of a cargo ship losing power And when you look at tragedies like that, icons and bridges that come down like that, you're reminded of how quickly things can change. You
Yeah.
know, I watched that last night, and I watched that bridge come down, and I mean, it went down quickly. And when you look at stuff like this, you got to remember that, that to me, it was very symbolic of a lot of different things. It was symbolic of how fragile, our democracy is.
Yeah.
It can be looked at that in that way. It can be looked at as, just 1 minute, 1 second of the power being gone or the lights being on, however you want to look at it, things going, horribly wrong, things can collapse. So I think we need to, take a minute to pause and look at the reminders that, tragedy can happen when somebody's not able to, control the wheel. And there's a lot of collateral damage that can happen. So I think we need to take a pause and pray for those families, but also take a little symbolic look at what we need to be doing here, and not allow our ship to, lose power,
Yeah.
and crash and to the bridge of prosperity, democracy, and all those other things that we hold so dear, because apparently there's a disconnect somewhere.
Yeah.
If you watch the news, if you've been watching, and I talked to my wife and other people that I talk to, I say, you kind of have to stay abreast of things in the news, but you don't want to have an overdose of this stuff, because it can be very frustrating, very confusing, bad for your blood pressure, but you still have to know kind of what's going on, right? We've got a lot of things that are going on, some things that really don't make sense, right? Um, People seem to get a lot of favoritism,
Yeah.
in the court system, and other people don't receive that same favoritism. Um, and you can get, let's just be honest, man, it could really make you mad. I know, I had some questions about some of the things that happened, this past week. How $300 million could just be wiped off of a bond. I think everybody kind of wondered about that. But I think it's important to look a little deeper and realize that $474 million is still old. I don't think people remember that. I don't have to say the name of the who I'm talking about. If you've been following the news, you know who I'm talking about. But just keep in mind, just fixate on a couple of things, and just know what's going on, but then keep it moving.
Right.
These are still things out of our control. And I think God's got it. Looking at what's going on, it's interesting when that was going on. What was more interesting to the news was what was going on with Diddy. And I was just like, okay, that's newsworthy, but I was more concerned about this ex, so-called we call president somehow getting $300 million wiped off of his bond.
Yeah.
And that was, we had to kind of dig and find that. But here Diddy was all up on the screen, and and I kind of think implicitly it kind of shows that it's almost like the news and maybe the country, I don't know, they love to see a person of color fall, but somebody, other folks, that are going through their thing, which to me I think is a little more significant, a lot more significant than what was going on with Diddy. This person is running for president of the United States,
Yep.
and somebody, I still don't know the name of the judge or the appellate court that those folks that lowered that $300 million bond. I don't understand why that wasn't more newsworthy than the fixation on Diddy and him flying around. And he had just as much coverage as they did when 9/11 happened, and they were trying to figure out where the president was. Where was Diddy? It was almost like, where was Carmen Sandiego? Everybody was,
Yeah.
you know, I, I could care less. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Yes, he did some horrible things allegedly. Let's just not forget that, people are innocent until proven guilty, right? Seems like he's pretty shady. There's some shady stuff going on. But to me, that's more tabloid. This is, politics. This is something that affects all of us,
Right.
what's going on with a presidential run, and it just seems like things are imbalanced. The scales of justice. We talk
Yeah.
about it. They're supposed to be blind and it's supposed to be balanced. But if you look at that scale, you know that the justice scale seems to be a little slanted, and it seems like it's slanted in a way that I can see. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Uh, it seems like the attention justice seems to be just a little bit crooked lately, and I think we need to go ahead and understand what that looks like internationally and nationally when things are so slanted, and just all these hail marys are given at the last second. Kind of seems pretty shady to me. I don't know how other people feel about it, but maybe that's something people can call in about. It just felt slimy. It felt shady.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of work I think went into that case, and a lot of time went into establishing that judgment. And I just really have a hard time understanding how $300 million could be wiped off the tab of a bond, and for what reason. We're not talking about a stand-up character here. We're not talking
No.
about somebody who deserves any type of leniency. I think. I don't know. Maybe that's just my opinion. So whatever is just and proven should go forward. Isn't that how that's supposed to work?
Yes. Supposedly.
So I mean, it's that's what I thought. If you go through a process, and I can see if there was maybe some legitimate reason that the bond be lowered, but what was that reason? What was the logical reason that he can't afford it? Well, I thought that was the point. That was the point. Was that number $474 million just arbitrarily drawn? I don't think so. So what justifies you wiping $300 million off that bond
You
other
know,
than entitlement?
yeah,
Remember that word we
yep,
talked about a few episodes ago?
being entitled.
Entitlement.
But see, this is what I don't get. He just said a week ago he has $500 million in cash. He was bragging about what he has. I'm saying,
Yeah.
how come the judge didn't take that into consideration? Said, nope, you still got to give up with $464 million, as he was stating last week that he had $500 million in cash.
Listen, if you stayed in court, you have $500 million in cash, and you can't come up with it. I mean, isn't that perjury?
Yeah,
I mean, where are I mean, I'm not trying to be a dime store attorney. I'm not that type of counselor, but I do know a couple things about lying in court. Let me or you do it.
oh,
See what happens.
we still trying to get out.
Up under the jail, which is a real thing. I found out in Texas that they used to put people of color under the jail. So that's a whole other. Maybe I need to talk about where that museum is in just north of San Antonio, where where there's a anyway. So that is a real expression, by the way. I found that out. Kind of turned my stomach, but that's really why we've had that horrible experience. But then Trump can bond out with 91 felons. I still, it'd be out, to me, wrecking more havoc to democracy. But, we'll figure it out down the line.
Right.
I keep hoping use humor to think about it. But I do think that we're writing a check that's going to have to be cashed down the line every time we let the slick orange one, the slick haired orange one, get a little further off down the line. It's just going to be just like a person that or a kid keeps getting away with something, keeps getting away with something. When he finally gets caught up, it's going to be a problem. It's going
Yeah.
to be a problem for him. It's going to be a problem for all those folks that are holding on to false hope that that he's going to get away with all this stuff. And it's interesting that the RICO laws and all those things are being charged to Trump and other of his, I don't want to say cronies, but folks. Uh, Because we remember there were some pretty powerful mob bosses that got hit with that RICO law, and those
Yeah.
people, there were some people kind of cheering for the mob bosses, like, oh, he's gonna get out of this, he's gonna get out of this. Well, eventually, those RICO laws catch you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you look at what's happening, all these people are falling around Trump right now. They're falling. And then you got to look at the financial aspect. Yeah, he didn't have to pay the 474 million right now, but he's got a few more days to get the 100 million, right?
Yeah.
174 million,
He
but he
would.
still has to pay that 474 million. And I don't think there's going to be too many banks rushing to give him 300 million more if he can't, raise 174 easily.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I don't know what bank's going to do it, but I do think people need to pay attention to this. If he can't pay 100 and something million, or 174 million, and then he suddenly has to pay 470 something million, right?
Yeah.
Watch where, if he suddenly can pay that, I think you need to pay attention where that money comes from.
Yep.
That's going to be very, very important. If he can raise the money, where did it come from? And it better not come from any place outside of the United States.
Well, we already know what's going to happen on that one.
Well, I tell you what, there was a time when the United States refused somebody receiving money from Castro, and that was Malcolm X. And I don't know, I can't remember if it was when he was with the Nation of Islam or after the Nation of Islam. But Castro, I think, was going to give something about $1 million to Malcolm X.
Yeah.
And the United States government refused that transaction because it was against national security.
Wow.
So I don't know if $1 million was against national security. I'm pretty sure $300 million would fall severely into that camp, especially with somebody that's got questionable things going on right now with our national security secrets, as well as interesting affiliations and admiration to dictators. So, I think that's reasonable. I think we can talk about that, and I think we should think about that and keep the lights on this one. I know everybody's supposed to be focusing more on Diddy. Can't stop, won't stop. Don't really
Yep.
care about that right now. I'll be perfectly honest. I mean, if he did it, hey, let the courts go on. I mean, I'm pretty sure Diddy is going to get caught up if he's done something wrong. It seems like, on the internet, the word on the street, so to speak, is he got some real questionable stuff that's been going on for years. Those court documents, those sexual assault cases that came up with Cassie and other folks, there definitely seems to be some shady stuff going on. 50 Cent is trolling them pretty hard, and he's not responding. He probably shouldn't respond. And it is what it is. But
Right.
the reality is, I can't help but notice the irony of how aggressive they're going after Diddy, but they're just letting somebody else slide who's actually running for office. And to
Yep.
me, that imbalance seems a little bit, okay, a lot of it off key. You know what I'm saying? To be talking about music, I didn't mean to make a joke out of that. Off key,
Yeah, that's
but
all right.
it seems to be really off key, and we're playing all the wrong notes right now, and the world is watching. We're so focused on Diddy, not focused on the man who might actually have the nuclear codes if he wins. The election. I guess I just can't understand it, man. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe somebody can help me out. I think I'm a reasonably educated guy, and I don't understand it, but maybe somebody can help to break that down to me. Why that is the way it is.
uh, speaking about that, try to stay on the subject. The young lady who ran the Republican party stuff, McDaniels, she was let go, and he brought in his daughter-in-law and other people to take the rest of the money. What's ironic about that, McDaniel turned around and was hired by NBC. And she finally turned around and said, yes, Trump didn't win the election 4 years later. But people at NBC had an uproar about her being there. And I think I found out today that NBC is not going through
Harley
with
Daniels,
hiring
Maple
her.
Film Actress.
You
That's
know,
on me. That
okay.
was something on my end. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and with this, you see it all coming together. Trump did say years ago if he ever ran for president, he would run up under the Republican Party because they too stupid to know what's going on. He used those exact words, and there he is right now, being the king of the Republican Party. He took over everything, but money wise, his hands is all in the cookie jar, and if they keep on giving that money, that's what he's using to pay his legal fees and everything else. And I feel sorry for the ones who's running for office, like Congress or Senate. There's no money in their war chest to help out with advertising because it's all wrapped up under Trump.
Did you say you feel sorry for him?
I do.
I don't feel sorry
I
for
know.
him.
No, I'm just saying in the aspect they're trying to get the money to run, but this one
Right.
guy, he's siphoning all the money to himself. Yeah, I kind of sort of feel sorry for them because now they're seeing what this guy is all about, and he's not worried about nobody else. He's worried about himself.
Listen. I don't feel sorry for the simple fact that they should have stood up to him when they had a chance.
Yeah,
And what happens in these situations when he goes, so if they can't secure their seats, when he goes down, they go down. And that's the way it goes. That's how
right.
it goes in a aristocracy. When the head of the aristocracy goes down, all the oligarchs go down too. So since people don't even understand what they're supporting, so the Republican Party is starting to become like the branch of aristocracy by default. The nature of that is when you're quiet and you let somebody who's obviously going the completely wrong direction in terms of legitimate authority, because there's a lot of different ways to have authority. Now, there in politics, we've always had politicians where you agree with some of the things and you disagree with some of the things.
Right.
The things that Trump seems to be doing is sensationalizing things that are, sore spots in the country. Yes, there's some immigration issues. Yes, we've got some export issues. Other countries have taken advantage of our import export. We do need to have stronger, uh, economy focused issues and legislation. But how do you go about that is very important. And doing it the way that Trump is doing it,
Yeah.
you got to understand something. If you aren't a successful businessman, how can you help the country to run in a successful manner? If you're a con man, what you're going to end up doing is conning people
Exactly.
into thinking you know what you're talking about. But just like I gave that example, I think it was last week, the Wizard of Oz. You get up there and you find out that the Wiz really is just pulling a whole bunch of levers. He don't know what he's doing because it's
Exactly.
all an illusion and a show. And the only person he's trying to benefit is himself. So I don't know, man. I think that people. How many times do they got to replay the Wiz or the Wizard of Oz? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Uh, or the Wiz if you African American and want to see a more entertaining version of the Wiz. I'm sorry, I like the Wiz better than the Wizard of Oz. Diana Ross played that part. But anyway, so the fact of the matter is, the guy that they think has all the answers, but isn't really providing any factual changes, he's only benefiting himself. He's only benefiting himself. And the
Yep.
sooner that people understand that, the sooner that they, stop placating and giving this man a get out of jail free card, the sooner we can get back on the right track.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, there's going to be some people that are really hurt, and yeah, it's going to be some problems. possibly, but it's going to be problems either way. It's going to be problems either way because I'm telling you something. I really believe internationally the world is watching how long we're going to allow this trip down the crazy lane.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you something. It's the people that are really not playing with us. They're not playing with us. And you can look at what happened in Russia. When you let your guard down, there are some wolves at the door, just like Russia found out.
Mm-hmm.
See, and there's people that have not forgotten when they felt they were slighted. So while we're fighting amongst ourselves, there are people, I believe, waiting to see where the cracks are.
Exactly.
So get it right, understand that we got to get this ship on the right track. Get only one option,
Yeah.
one real option, one sane option on the ballot when it comes to the president. Now they both are old. Let's
Yeah.
just be real. They both are old, but I'll take old and sane versus old and insane,
Yeah.
delusional. Now that's just the reality. And the other thing too is okay. So if you know how the presidency works, you understand that the people around them have to be intelligent. They have to be well educated. They have to know their stuff. Now, do you really think President Trump's cabinet is going to be that? Or are they just going to be, is he just going to surround himself with yes men and women?
What you just said, that's what it
Come
surround
on now.
itself with.
So then you don't really have people that can really, stand up to even. So think about what happened with his. I guess the last time he ran, he had Pence, right?
Yep.
Pence stood up against him and almost lost his life.
Yep. And he's having said he's not even endorsing them.
And that should tell you something right there. The man that most closely knows who a Trump is about said he can't endorse him for president. Has that ever happened? Has an ex vice president ever not endorsed a president? Are we even looking at that? Has
Yeah.
that ever happened in the history of the country? An ex vice president says, "Nah, I can't do it."
People that was in his cabinet are not endorsing him either.
Yeah, I saw an article here saying that it's an illusion. They're saying that it's an illusion that the Republican Party is supporting Trump the way that it appears. I don't know. He's still the nominee.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing they can do about it. Um, my question is, I got everything set up right now. So anybody want to call in and discuss anything, but on the topic that we're on, call 210-461-8034. I just chimed in on my phone and stuff. Now getting back to people not endorsing him, the things that I don't get is he's not picking up anything new, any new followers. He claimed that he is, but the numbers show that the followers he did pick up has dropped. So he's trying to seek out the black and the Latino votes. I don't know if you've seen that picture of him being doctored, a picture of him hugging all the black people around here, men and women. And that was definitely AI generated because they told me it was. You know,
What'd you say, Ron? What'd you say, Ron? He's using AI.
yeah, using
Oh
AI.
man.
And they said, and he's the one saying, if things go against me, it's because of AI. He's already starting to use AI. So,
I would. Hey, listen, man. Trump, if he could AI his votes, he would do that, man. If he, I'm telling you right now. it's going to be some craziness. This election is going to be like watching a TV show. It's going to be you got to wonder what's happening on this episode. It's going to be all kind of foolishness, man. Fact checking. It's all crazy, man. It is
Yeah.
all crazy. So we just gonna have to pay attention to what's going on during election time. I applaud the fact that you are an election official. We need more people to step up to the plate that have the time. Those are people that are retirees. We need to step up to the plate. Those folks that are law enforcement. We need to volunteer some time to help make sure that the voters are safe. That the folks that want to try to intimidate, they don't have any respite.
Yeah.
They need to spend that time, and you need to do what you can to help make sure that these voting areas are safe. The people are not going to be intimidated. So that this blue wave that I think is going to happen, I'm hoping that's going to happen, is going to come through
Yeah.
because we got to look at it. So the budget right now for the Democratic Party is almost double, probably even close to triple what the Republicans have to spend, and the Republicans are primarily just going to be able to spend on Trump because Trump
Right.
has already set it up where he's siphoned the funds. So that's how your blue wave is possibly going to happen, is because you've got more advertising dollars, which means that you know how it works. You don't just vote for the president and the vice president, you vote, for other folks as well. So if we pick up more seats in the House and the Senate, it's going to really kind of, I think, reset the ship the right way.
Yeah.
Because we got to get all the Marjorie Green hypocrites, out of there. You know what I'm saying? So, and let's look at the credibility of some of these folks. A lot of people don't know that Marjorie Green and her husband, they both were cheating on each other and got a divorce. Yeah, they got the nerve. Marjorie is up there, the loudest thing in the Capitol, talking stuff, man. So, it's all smoke and mirrors right
Right.
up there. You know what I'm saying? So we got to have common sense. We got to use that instinct that a lot of us have. I'm talking to right now my black folks, people of color. What does that instinct say? Those of you, as Malcolm X said, is falling close enough to the tree to still have your instinct. What does your instinct say about Trump and the party and the direction that it's headed? And that should tell you something, not just the instinct. Look at what and how he's saying what he's saying.
Right.
Most black folk can relate to me now because I've been indicted and I've been arrested.
I
What are
got a
you talking
case.
about, man?
I got a
What
case.
are you what? Yeah, because you got a case. So what you saying, man?
Yeah.
What you trying to say? You know what I'm saying? Like
What you see now? What you haven't heard about is his shoes. They didn't go over well, and I don't think they're doing production on those tennis shoes anymore.
well, I just had my brother show me something. Jerome Wilson showed me that he's not just selling shoes; he's selling Bibles and everything else. I'm not even gonna show you the site. Now there's a new Bible that he's selling. I don't know if he rewrote it or whatever, but he's selling Bibles and everything else. So what you got to understand, man, is you got a two-bit hustler that was put up on a platform that he is not prepared for, but he resonates with people that really don't understand who he really is. And now, when you shine a light on him, the best thing to do with Trump is to shine a light on who he really is. And the people in New York, the his financial peers, so to speak, who actually earned their money
Right.
and created successful businesses, they said it because the guy ran against him. I can't think of his name right now, but ran against Trump. Actually said that they don't even take him seriously in New York. They don't take him seriously. And he actually said, you know who Trump is. When you fly into New York, or when you come into New York, and you go to the subway, and you see the people selling the fake watches and all that. That's Trump.
Mm.
He said that's who he is. If you go to New York, the people with the knockoff clothes and all that type of stuff, that's Trump. The only difference is Trump had a rich father who gave him about millions of dollars by the time he was 19. So he just was able to do his scams on a larger level. Now that's not my words. That's his financial peers that have watched him and worked around him and were in those circles. That's how those folks see him. Now you got an interesting thing to think about. If those are the financially well off, that's how they view Trump, that are around him, then who really are his peers?
True. Yep.
Who are they? Other con men, other criminals. You see where the other folks outside of the United States come into play?
Yep.
That's why he's so much in love with Kim Jong Un and so in love, so in love with Putin and all these other folks. Because you don't have to have legitimacy; you just have to have force and power, and that's all you have to have.
Right.
And look at how Putin treats opposition, the oligarchs. They're either for him or he trying to kill them. That's or
And that's
they're just all have a series of unfortunate accidents. Like getting shot out of the sky and falling out of hospital windows and all that type of stuff.
accidents.
And ironically, yeah, accidents. Rich people, wealthy folks don't usually have that many accidents. You don't usually get wealthy by having and stay wealthy by having that many accidents. But as soon as you say something against Putin, you suddenly start you real clumsy after you say something about Putin. I get it. I get it. I understand. I understand what's going on. But that's what he likes, and that's why some of his people in the circle are talking about. Well, I shouldn't be charged if I take out political opposition, literally, because that's what he's seeing his mentor do. Is
Yeah.
that where the ridiculous, man? And then saying a little double speak. He learned that from his dad. That's the what the Klan they used to do. They used to do double talk all the time. So he'll say stuff like it's going to be a bloodbath. I don't really mean it like that, but he's saying exactly what he means. But then other
Exactly.
people try to talk out of what he's really saying. Come on, man. He's been doing that the whole time, and people want to play dumb. He did that at January 6th
Mm.
when he said to go down there and take it by force. But then they were trying to say, well, he didn't really mean take it by force. No, he really did mean take it
Yeah,
by
he
force.
really admitted it. Yeah.
He really did. I mean, you can ask the Secret Service man who he put his hands around, when he didn't want to take him down the street. It just blows my mind, man. As my grandfather used to say, it just blows my mind how people don't see exactly who he is. And he told you who he is. He told you who he is.
Yep.
That's the part that I think is the most shocking about all this. He's told you who he is. People don't want to believe him because they don't want to believe they've been that gullible in supporting him. It is what it is.
Just like I said, after January 5th, a lot of people gonna need some mental health help. They gonna need it because if
Well,
it,
you see that website right there. I've got a team of people in Grand Rapids. I got a team of people in San Antonio, Texas. That'll be more than happy to help you. I might even pick up a few clients. But to be honest with you, if you are delusional, I can safely say, unless you want to come out of your delusion, don't contact our practice because we're not going to, hold you. Generally within 5 sessions, my team is going to be taught to help you get on the track and do some work to getting back to the reality.
right
I'm gonna hit you with the soul to soul song, "Back to Life, Back to
to
Reality." I don't even
reality,
feel like singing
yeah,
right now, but y'all, you need to look it up. That needs to be the mantra. I'm gonna send that in to the Democratic Party. We need to make that the doggone theme song. Back to life, back to
to
reality.
reality, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Martha,
Because
Martha
too
just
many
posted.
people.
Martha just posted saying, pay attention to words, not the person saying the words.
I'd say pay attention to the actions. Your actions speak so loudly, I can't even hear a word you're saying,
Right.
right? Because that's what we say on the show. But hey, Martha's got a good point too. Make sure the words match the actions, right?
Yep.
So where are you seeing this? Are we on the Facebook thing now?
No, that's on YouTube. We got some people
You
on
listen,
YouTube
man,
watching.
you got too many different things. I'll let you watch that, man.
Yeah,
I
well,
got I got all these screens up here.
yeah, I'm
See,
just
Martha
checking.
hasn't given me that screen yet, so
Yeah,
I
you
gotta
ain't
get she gotta give me
kidding.
borrow that
And
screen.
and she won't give me the key to the office. I asked her for the key to the office. She don't want to give it to me.
That's all right. Hey, we gonna sneak in there and borrow that screen, Martha. One day you'll come in. I'm gonna trade you screens. One day me and Ryan will come in there and borrow your screen, so
Yeah,
I can have extra stuff up
and
here, extra
her screen gonna
almost a
be an
lot.
itty bitty 4 inch by 4 inch screen. We're gonna replace it with.
Is it? Hey, listen. I ain't trying to get Martha mad at me, man. That's a good clinician and life coach, part of the Impact Collaboration. We are going to be getting together soon. I keep saying that, but I've been really busy. But we're going to get it together. So she knows what I'm talking about. I've been harassing her for a couple months off and on something that we got to do with the team.
Right.
So with Michigan and San Antonio. And
Yeah.
she can feel free to jump on the show here again. It wasn't any animosity. That's what this is all about. Working together, growing together, and talking about uplifting the communities. Stateside and worldwide. We in this together.
Yeah.
People got to understand we are in this together, and having a sound mind is key. I think there's a scripture, and if Craig was on here somewhere, he would give me the scripture. But it's about, people perish because of lack of wise counsel, right?
Yeah.
So somebody look that scripture up, and you can pull it up for me. That's one of the things about impact. The strategy is to have wise counsel. So I'm a
Yeah.
clinician. I've been doing this for a long time, but I have mentors. I have clinical, folks that have been in there longer than me that I run past things. And me and you, we talk about a lot of different things. And
Yeah.
Ron knows a lot of things. He doesn't have the name the Black MacGyver for nothing. All right, he knows. Hey, listen, he can fix an air conditioner with a screwdriver. I've seen it. I'm telling you, what was it? The air conditioner, whatever that thing was, central air
Yeah,
with an
central air. The
with a
fan.
screwdriver.
Yeah,
So,
the fan was messed up. It was one of those tricks of the trade that I learned throughout the years to find out exactly what
listen,
was wrong. And I went
that
over
shit,
there and I did my screwdriver like that. You should have seen the look on Joseph's face.
I can't believe it, man. But anyway, so that's a little history about how that happened. But
All right,
you gotta,
I got somebody that just chimed in. You're not gonna
okay,
believe
what do we got?
this. This is Travis
Okay,
um,
Travis.
from the Carolinas. He says
Hey,
I'm a Republican.
outstanding.
I just want to let you know your guys are doing a good job reporting things. I just got to say that I'm a Republican and I'm torn about voting. Let me read it exactly. I'm torn about voting this year. I really don't
Wow.
want to support the current we're talking about Trump. And he
Hmm.
said, should he or should he not vote? And that's a question. I can answer that question for him right now. Yes, you should vote. But you don't have to pick a president to vote. You can vote for all the other things, congressional. You got to look at your town elections in there. Just don't vote. I mean, get out and vote. Just don't say you're not going to vote. And that's not the first time I hear that come from somebody who's a Republican and Democrat. They're all torn about voting. And I tell everybody, get out and vote, because if you don't, somebody may be in office that you don't want there. You have to get
Well,
out and
here's
vote.
I'm going to answer a little bit differently than you, Ron. I want him to vote, but I want him to vote for somebody that's sane. uh, so you know, if you have to look at it, right? Um, if you have a person who's saying ridiculous and dangerous things to the security of our country, to the security of our democracy as a whole, I don't think that's a Republican ideal. So if you have somebody who is claiming to be a Republican, who was previously a Democrat, who basically slapped Republican parties in the face, Republicans in the face, saying that they're so stupid, I could go and kill somebody on Fifth Street in New York and they would still vote for me. I would say, don't be that Republican.
Yeah.
Don't be that Republican. You know what I'm saying? I consider myself an African American, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I consider that is because it's disrespectful to the people who died in the Middle Passage, my ancestors, for
Yeah.
that journey to become an American, and then also to understand that you have a responsibility to vote. People died to give us the opportunity to vote, so we need to vote. We have to vote.
Yeah.
But you have to have a responsible vote. And my thing is this: look at if I do want everybody to vote, but I want you to look at the merit of your vote and what are you voting for? What's the plan of your candidates? What's the plan of your party? I'm really just wondering where the majority of the Republican Party is that's allowing Trump to take over the party. Where are the other Republicans that are saying, you know what, I can't go there? I have to say, I respect Pence for saying I can't endorse him. So if the ex-vice president of the United States says he can't endorse the president, then what is there to think about? He should have the best view of what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should know what's going on if you look at January 6th with your own eyes, not what the media says. Look at your own eyes, what Trump was doing. While the Capitol was being assaulted, he sat there silent. What president, what city official, what citizen could sit there while one of our institutions was attacked and you think that, oh, it's okay, based on a lie that you know was a lie, that the election was not, and let me just say it very clearly, the election was not stolen. The American people spoke, and for hundreds of years, that tradition was smudged in a horrible way that we just go along with the party that wins and we go back to the drawing board and try to, fight for another day. And we support who becomes president, not because we like the person, not because we agree with everybody that becomes president, but because we're Americans, and that's what made us unique before Trump. And that's bigger than Trump, that's bigger than any one person. That ideal of democracy where you support the winning candidate.
Yeah.
Was something uniquely American. And don't forget what happens when you are the shining light of democracy to the world and you walk away from that. Other countries that were following our lead, like Brazil, they had a very similar January 6th after that.
They sure did.
So we can't be the generation that allows democracy's light to be dimmed any further. We got to right the ship. So I appreciate you, Travis. I hope you vote, but I think really, I think you need to vote American, not Republican.
Hey,
And
that's a good way of
American,
putting it.
that's what you need to look. And if your candidate does not, match to the American ideals of what democracy stands for, then I would dare say you don't have a candidate. You have a crook.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that there aren't some other political figures that have some crook-like tendencies, but let's just be real, man. Let's just be real. So and I'll be honest with you. If you really can't vote for and see the other thing is I'm having a hard time voting for I would have a hard time voting for Republicans that didn't stand up against Trump. I mean, I'm a little old school. If you don't have a backbone, you really shouldn't be in power.
Yep.
Liz Cheney has impressed me to no end. I know she's like a bad word, but she's standing, like the young folks said, she's standing on business. She's standing on what the Republican Party used to represent, and they have conservative values and all that, but they also had ethics, they also had moral, and they truly were about law and order. And they used to be able to stand up to the truth. I remember when when Liz Cheney's dad was running against Barack Obama, and that lady stood up and said, "Oh, Barack Obama's
Yes.
a terrorist," and he pulled the mic away from her. I'll never forget that. Say, no, 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 he's not that.
Yep.
That's the Republican Party I respected. I didn't always agree,
Right.
but I respected it.
Yes.
Now, if you don't have leaders that you can look at your children and say, hey, this is a stand-up guy, this is a guy that, and then I think didn't Trump didn't he insult Cheney,
He sure
saying
did.
that he was
A
a
prisoner.
war hero?
Prisoner. He said he's not a hero. He got caught.
Yeah,
That's what
let
he
me tell you
said.
something.
That's
Let me
exactly
tell
what
you
he
something.
said.
As a United States Army veteran, I was so pissed because I wasn't pissed just because he disrespected a veteran. I was pissed because he's never even served in the military and he's disrespecting somebody who not only served but got captured and was tortured,
Mm-hmm.
and he thought it was.
Yep.
I don't understand how you could even vote for somebody like that. I don't get it, man. I'm sorry. How do you do that? How do you, with good conscience, go in there? And even though I didn't agree with Cheney, I still respected his service. See, that's the
Yeah.
difference between military folks, veterans who really took their vows seriously. That I don't have to agree with. I didn't agree with everybody I served with, but we were willing to die for each other.
Right.
See, that's the bond that people don't talk about. And that's, I'm going to tell you something. There's a whole lot. I ain't going to go into there.
Hmm.
I will say this. There are real, and then there are real clowns.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're not voting for a real clown. That's all I'm going to say. Because there are people that have their life on the line to protect people for real. And they need somebody for real in that office. They deserve that. They deserve that. So miss me with all the honoring your veterans if you can't honor that vote the right way.
Right.
You're not honoring a veteran if you're not honoring somebody that's for real in that office. The next time we have to go to war, there's people that don't have to leave their children, have to leave their family to go clean up a mess we made by putting the wrong person in office. So take that seriously as well. It's not just about your grocery prices that you think are
Yeah.
more, but actually less because you don't even understand inflation. I'm talking about you, Travis. I'm talking about other folks. I'm talking about everybody. But there are consequences. There are wolves at the gate. And there are people around us all the time that are trained. There's neighbors that you know that might be in the guard or the reserve that will have to leave to go to clean up the mess we make by putting the wrong person in office.
Exactly.
Now, if you think Biden is the wrong person, if you think Trump is the wrong person, look at the evidence. Look at who they are. Look at the judgment that they have displayed. And then you make your choice. To me, it's clear.
Yeah.
To me, it's clear. But I can only speak from my standpoint. I can only speak from, my point of view, and that's my personal opinion. There's no way on God's green earth that I could vote for a man who disrespects a war hero. At that point, he shouldn't have been a candidate any further at that point. If you don't respect your veterans, how do you even become a president? The people that are supposed to give up their lives because of to defend and protect the United States, and you don't respect them, cancel that, man.
Yeah.
Cancel that.
Speaking about the
What are you
election,
talking about?
speaking about election, somebody just chimed in, uh, asking a question about the election coming. The question was this: why is it in the primary that you had to choose Republican or Democrat? And that her name is Margaret. She was confused on that. Well, I can answer that question for you because when you're going in for the primary, each party want to know who's voting for what, and you got to vote for one party or the other during the primary. Who you gonna have in the general election? Now, when the general election come around, you could split your ticket. You could vote for anybody you want to vote for. But during the primary, you have to be specific. I'm a Republican voting for this. I'm a Democrat voting for this. So everybody get their candidates together for the general election. And she was confused, and I understand what she's talking about. We had one person in the precinct I was working that walked out because he couldn't split. He wanted to vote some for Democrat, some for Republican. He didn't understand why that was going on, and we explained to him what it was. So a lot of people are being confused about the election coming up already, and that's sad. So we got to stay on top of it and talk about it. Everybody know, don't be confused. Don't see
This,
they're getting disgruntled. They don't want to vote because things have become no, it's not confusing. So that's some of the excuses people are using not to vote.
well, I'll tell you what, we do need people to vote. Statistically, the more that people vote, the more actually the Democratic Party does better, statistically.
Yeah.
Um, so it's scary when people are saying that they're not going to vote because that's when people are going to vote for you. And we talked about that electoral college. And right now we got some serious things to be worried about, I think, because of
Yeah.
how the electoral college is set up and how these conventions set up delegates and get pick delegates. So,
Right.
we need people to vote. We need people to have a voice. You can see what happens if you don't vote, then the majority rules, the majority, which is not the true majority, then gets the vote, right? So let's just say the moderate Republicans that know that the far right is way too far to the right, they're too ridiculous, they're turned off, and they say, well, I don't want to vote Democrat because I'm not a Democrat, but I just don't want to vote. Then what happens is the extreme right becomes the vote.
Yep. So yeah.
So, so I agree. I think Travis, to answer your question, you should vote, but you need to vote your conscience. One of the biggest ways to wake up the Republican Party is to say, you know what? I used to be a Republican, but I think I'm gonna vote Democratic this time because he's the most rational. May not agree with all the policies, but can we just put mental health on the ballot a little bit?
Yeah.
Which one is the most sane? Because you can't say Biden is completely the one is. I guess we're having to, if we're going to debate senility, or who's more senile than the other. Uh, I think they both are struggling in that regard. If we're going to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, I'd rather have the more senile guy who is at least trying to do the right thing versus the senile guy who has got more than questionable, intent and morals.
True that.
So we'll see. We'll see
True
how it
that.
goes. I think we need to vote the issues in our conscience, and I think that's where that should go.
Yeah.
But good question. But we had somebody finally chime in, and
Get
ask a question about
I,
voting, right?
I love it. It's coming in.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's coming in real time because we talked about this. We've always been talking about voting, getting out there and doing it, and right now is a time they need to get out and do it. Women need to come out in droves because a lot of this is affecting their life. You got old men telling you what to do with your body. Come on now.
Listen, I think women should come out, and I need all my dads that have daughters. Come on now. I'm talking to my
Yeah.
dads that have daughters right now. You really want some crusty, perverted, what? Listen, you better stand up right now. Or when your daughter is old enough to ask you how you voted, you're going to have a hard thing to answer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have a
Exactly.
hard thing to answer. Because this is knowing how women of all ethnicities have been treated by men
Right.
and the disparities of of economic disparities, women of color especially, how healthcare wise it's just completely um, horrific, the statistics on death rates for women having children, and just overall, just look at the stats. The last thing we need to do is take away rights from women, because ultimately it's so ironic to me. Because let me tell you something: a woman's ultimately going to decide either way. Before abortion was legal, before Roe v. Wade, women were deciding either way if they were going to have a
Exactly.
child or not.
Exactly.
And I don't want to be too graphic about it, but there were these places that were given these makeshift abortion clinics. So there was an old saying that there are certain folks that were pro-life up until the life got here, and then they weren't about any other type of support.
Yep.
You know? And then what about the life of the mother who was going to do something anyway, right? So,
Yeah.
just very hypocritical. Um, and that's not new. I mean, if you go back in time and you look at the scribes and the Pharisees, they want to pretend like they were so religious, but they were the fakest people of all, and they had the most sin that they were trying to cover.
Yep.
Now, just look at it. If you go back into the Word, if you truly read the Word of God and read the Bible and understand who the scribes and the Pharisees were, which part do you think has the most scribes and Pharisees? The ones that always wanted a public seat and to talk about how religious they were, but secretly were doing the highest forms of evil, trying to crucify Jesus. Come on now. I
Yep.
don't mean to preach today, but it is what it is. And I'll give you a big hint. It sure wasn't the rich folks that were the most righteous.
Well, yeah, preach on, brother.
So, you know,
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
So vote according to your conscience.
Exactly. But get
And
out and
that's
vote.
all I can tell you.
Yeah.
But get out and vote. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any other comments, questions? Man, Ron, they probably we scaring people off. They don't want to.
Well,
They
what,
don't
what,
want to call in.
well, they're opening up. They're chiming in on real time now, and it was nice to get a
Okay.
Republican in to talk about it. That was good.
Yeah.
So
And he actually said, and look, we need to put that on there. The Republicans said we are fair in our reporting, and that we, what did he say?
He says, "Oh, let me go back." Saying that we are speaking the truth. We are fair in what we're talking about, and everything your guys had said. He looked up on, he vetted it, and found out that a lot of stuff that we're saying is exactly true. And he pointed towards Trump. So I think that will is starting to roll and turn. That some of the Republicans are really looking at what he's doing, and they don't like what he's doing, basically.
Well, you got to look at something too, man. We're in some dangerous territory too.
Mm,
Um, I try not to scare people too much, but there's some scary stuff that's going on, right?
yeah.
When you when you attack the institutions the way the institutions are being attacked, we have to at least look at what's going on and what's being said. And I think, because Trump is so bombastic with a lot of things he says, I think that's one of the most diabolical things about him is that you say he says things so ridiculous you don't think there's not like a motive behind it. But
Right.
just look at the intent of what he's actually doing. Look at the institutions that he's attacking the media. He's attacking the legal system. He's attacked the political system. That's why I'm really interested to see if this money suddenly pops up. There's only a few places that can come up with 400 or $300 million quickly, and that would be a sovereign state of some sort,
Yeah.
or a sovereign state owned offshore bank or organization. So Interpol, please track all money going to the RNC, and make sure that some 300 something $1 million doesn't come from Russia or a Russia affiliate or Kim Jong Il or whoever, Kim Jong Un or whatever. Please make sure that money does not come from over there to the RNC because
Mm-hmm.
that's what needs to be watched. And I think there's somebody overlooking the Trump businesses anyway. But see, the thing is, they're not overlooking the RNC, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We need to go ahead and make sure that happens. Just keep an eye out, man.
Yeah. Have to. Have to.
Things are getting pretty slippery and slimy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I'm just
But hey, man, I think we about an hour, wait, 6 minutes over. So
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
run too far over our time.
Okay.
I don't want to get that reputation. But hey, you don't have. Did you have a question for me
No,
before I get up out of here?
I was just gonna say that Cuban Jr. was added to the charges with P Diddy.
Who was that?
Cuban Jr. Gooding Jr. He was added with sexual harassment and harassment lawsuits. So now they got Cuban Gooden Jr. added to that list.
Oh Lord, Mister Show Me the Money himself. Huh?
Yeah.
No, man.
So
Now they said, I see. I don't want to be participating in no gossip or whatever, but and the last person I need to be quoting is 50 Cent. But you know what? You got to give credit where credit is due.
yeah.
50 Cent, hey, 50 Cent was one of the first people to go out there and say Diddy did it. And now he made a comment about Jay-Z. He said, "Where's Jay-Z at?"
Mm,
As you know, Jay-Z and Diddy were tight.
yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Jay Z got a $40 million plane that Beyonce bought. Now Jay disappeared on the plane. I know something. I,
yeah.
I know something. I know if Jay suddenly get to that island they bought. But I just hope, man, that all I can say is what's done in the dark is gonna come to the light, man. That's all I can say.
yeah.
And let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you to all future African American entertainers, just don't do it because if Bill Cosby ain't showed you nothing, if R. Kelly ain't showed you nothing, you don't have the privileges that Donald Trump has. You only need one good indictment and you going to jail.
Yeah.
That is clear as day. And if not, It should be. So,
Exactly.
plus you shouldn't be doing that anyway. You shouldn't be doing it anyway, right?
Right.
But, well, if that's what's going on, I don't know. The rich and famous have been doing crazy stuff, you know,
Yes, they have.
forever. So let's not forget about the Epsteins and all these guys, right? So let's not just put it on black entertainers either, because we got some crazy stuff that was going on. Was it what was it, Weinstein, Epstein? I can't remember, one of the Steins.
Both of them.
They were both of them,
Yeah,
yeah, both of them,
Weinstein, Epstein. Yeah.
so
So,
all of them,
yeah.
so
All
all
of
of
the
them was
above. Yeah.
crazy stuff, man. So hey, so it's a movement. Then hey, didn't one of them ex-presidents, did ain't he in trouble for doing something right now? Trump, ain't he in trouble for
Yeah.
some sexual something? Or
Exactly. Matter of fact, that trial is going to start on April 15th. The judge told him no. He tried to get out and said no. Oh, the one thing they put on that judge did, uh, put a gag order on him. He can't say not just a little bit of gag, a whole gag order. He cannot mention none of this. So and
we'll
this
see how
judge,
that works out.
yeah, and this judge ain't playing. If he mess up, he could be in one of the little orange suits matching his skin color orange.
And his hair, he
Yeah.
looked like a whole Oompa Loompa.
So,
He
yeah,
looked like he won Willy Wonka's folks, huh?
yeah. So,
But all I can tell you, man, is I believe it when I see it, man. I
yeah,
think I don't know what's going on with the Justice Department, but I don't know why this dude keep getting so many passes. I still don't know why Mar-a-Lago doesn't have tape around it right now. I still don't. And like I
yeah.
said on the show, that offer still stands. We will raise the money for the yellow tape. If there's an issue for the yellow tape around Mar-a-Lago, I
Mm-hmm.
think my listeners, we can set up a account and we will buy the tape and
And wrap
and
around it.
for to wrap around Mar-a-Lago to make that a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll find another tunnel or passageway. Maybe that they found. I know they found one recently, and maybe there'll be some more documents in there.
Yeah,
I bet. I don't know. It just blows my mind. I talk about that all the time. Like, how is it not a crime scene, but we still have documents that are missing? So
yeah.
please, somebody chime in and let me know how that's not a crime scene. Let me know the ordinance, the law, and don't say just because it's in Florida. I know somebody. I know somebody gonna say that because it's in Florida and DeSantis is,
Yeah.
the governor. I don't. I don't want to hear that mess. We are supposed to be a country of laws, but these laws are looking real flexible and flimsy when it
Oh
comes to
man,
Trump right now. It's
you're
all I can
right.
say.
You're right.
And it's about time. It's about time now. Come on now. It's about time. Diddy can't. He got to fly all the way to Antigua to escape. Judgment. He know he gonna get a photo, and he ain't gonna be able to post bond like and just go back to whatever state he had. So he jumped on the plane, and it's looking a little shady for Diddy. I have to admit, it is looking shady. He told
Yeah.
the pilot or whatever to cut off the tracking, and they still tracked him. I said, man, come on with y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, did he really think that he could just disappear?
And had on his phone. They could track that anywhere.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And then did you see the meme though? All right, I'm trying. This ain't funny, man. This is not funny,
Yeah.
but man, 50 Cent is dead wrong, man, with the memes and all that stuff, man. He just, oh my gosh, it's crazy. And what was making so you got to laugh at some of this stuff, man, because it's enough to really piss you off. Because I'm like, I don't want to hear about another thing about Diddy. I want to know how this $300 million get lowered off this bond. That's
Yep.
how can you just be like, okay, we're just gonna wipe 300 million. But anyway, so we're gonna get off of here, man. Hey,
Okay.
the actions are speaking so loudly. Whew, I don't even know if I even care to hear what some people have to say, man. I'm just,
True
I'm gonna have
that.
to change my saying now. Your actions speak so loudly, I can't hear a word you're saying. I don't even know if I want to hear anything you got to say. I need for this justice to speak what justice really is. Be
Yeah.
equitable
Yeah.
to folks that really deserve. To me, if you're a leader, you should be held to a higher standard, not a lower one.
Amen.
Did anybody, I mean, does that make sense to anybody? Just marinate on that one and talk about that amongst your friends. And I'm waiting for some people in the Republican Party to stand up and say enough is enough.
Yeah.
You know, say enough is enough before we have too much damage done to our credibility internationally, even more than it already is, as well as nationally. People are watching. History is watching.
Yeah, they
I
are.
don't think people understand that.
Yeah, they are. All right,
Yeah,
my
it
brother.
is. So, all
Yeah,
right.
well, just like old time's sakes, past the time, we do things like that.
Yeah, we do.
But
We
it's
do.
all
It's
right.
your fault.
Yeah, I'll take full responsibility for that.
Yeah, right. It's on me. It's on me this time. But hey, enjoy it. So hey, like you said, this is fun. You
Yep,
know, this ain't work. This is fun.
it's fun.
But I'm about to take myself to bed. It's about 11 o'clock. Gotta go.
Okay. All right, brother. You take care.
All right, you too. Bye
All
bye.
right. All right, that was Joseph Lee, everybody, with Impact Counseling and Consulting Services. We appreciated him coming on the show this morning, doing this thing. And I just tell everybody, just keep on doing what you're doing. Do not forget to vote.